So what? You just like sign up for an email list? That's the whole website? I feel like Patchy the Pirate, where he's like, that's it? That's the whole website? It's just an email sign-up list. So there's this thing going on, I guess, between Steven Crowder and some others, mainly Ben Shapiro, it seems like, and I have no clue what it is. I just know that, like, there's this big con thing going on. Steven Crowder's really mad at Big Con. What is Big Con doing? What does it even mean? What is Big Con? I don't know. I really don't. I haven't been keeping up with it because I've been too obsessed with my kitten. So I've been doing more important shit and have not been paying attention to this, but apparently it's really entertaining. So the girls are fighting, and we must get to the bottom of it. So that we can help solve it, right? Because we don't, if there's one thing we don't want, it's the conservatives to fight amongst each other. That would be bad, right? Of course, of course, we don't want them fighting or anything. Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if we can help these guys out. Okay.
So, stopbigcon.com now exists to begin with. It's been a while. Either this has to stop, or I'm going to have to stop. Either this, what I'm about to discuss, has
By the way, it's completely unrelated, but honestly, I gotta respect the physique. Okay, man works out his biceps. He looks good.
Stop, or I don't know. This may just not be for me anymore. So let me explain. Give me a few minutes of your time because context matters here. I ask that you don't skip
context.
Ahead. Won't take very long. This has been a long time coming. This is a conversation that I've actively avoided, sidestepped, and I've hoped and prayed that it not be necessary behind the scenes for a long while. But that's no longer possible. So
Crowder mad because Dimtool basically admitted to being a grifter. Can I get all right, I do need context for that, actually, unironically.
If you've watched for the last decade,
it's going to be a long segment.
You know that I've always made it clear that we here at Mug Club are in the business of serving you.
Me?
You watching, listening right now. I've also made it clear that I wouldn't be in the business of attacking
He's talking about
other
me.
Conservatives, regardless of disagreements or personal issues. And I've always explained my logic was relatively simple. I believe that the world was better with more voices out there rather than less, regardless of minute differences, considering the magnitude of the battle that we are genuinely fighting for our country right now. But for the first time, I have to say that I believe many of those in charge in the right-leaning media are actually at odds with what's best for you, the viewer, the customer, and more importantly, the country. We here at Mug Club, we thought that we were all in this together.
Or as we like to call it, the customer.
Industrial complex. We thought that we were all genuinely...
Because we're crusty anarchists. The customer.
Taking it to big tech. But too many of those in charge of the big conservative platforms are verifiably in bed with them. Big tech is in bed with Big Con. The people I thought were fighting for you.
Now, hold on. Are you telling me that Elon Musk, the guy who bought Twitter, might actually, like, be in bed with big tech? You know, like the conservative Elon Musk might actually be the one who bought Twitter. Big tech, I guess the definition of that is just like any social media platform, right? Or like, I guess just Google in general. I don't know. It's really, the definition is really up in the air. We're not entirely sure. Yeah, that's wild that like conservatives and corporations would like be in bed with each other. I've never heard of this concept before.
A lot of it has been a big con. Now, I'm specifically avoiding naming names or going after individuals in this video because I genuinely hope that those I'm addressing, and you know who you are, have a change of heart. It's never too late to do the right thing. Guys,
he won't say any names, will he?
We can all do better. It doesn't have to be this way, and please don't make me have to provide receipts. Now, to the others out there who have now been able to verify, have been locked into exploitative contracts that I have the luxury of not having to sign, which is why I'm doing this. Those of you out there who've been locked into this and you know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. I've got something for you before this video is done. So a few points to address. Now, many, but not all of the suits running the business of big conservative, Big Con, at best don't share your values and at worst are taking advantage of your good graces.
Whoa, what? Conservatives are taking advantage of their fan base? That's wild, dude. It's going to be hard for them to get around that allegation. I would have never guessed that.
And as I've experienced it behind the scenes, I've watched our country be harmed
do the left
as a result. So Mug Club, professionally, it's meant everything to us here. Personally too, but professionally, you are the entire reason for your ability to create this kind of content truly independently for the last 6 years.
Viewers like
when I started doing, right-leaning, like comedy entertainment videos in 2009, maybe it was 2008, I really didn't have a plan. I didn't know the blueprint because there was no blueprint. I didn't know the ceiling because no one with this kind of content.
In fact, you didn't know much of anything.
It was you.
If you really think about it.
you watching, supporting, who created the ceiling, and you made it clear that all of you were going to keep raising it. All I knew back then was that I was a conservative, I was a Christian, and there was nothing out there.
Wait, I was a conservative? I was a Christian? Interesting word of choice, I guess.
Not on cable, not on radio, certainly not on YouTube. And back then, that was really the only video platform. Live streaming wasn't really even a thing. All I wanted to do was to set out to create the kind of content, the kind of show that I always wished had existed when I was growing up. And I hope that there would be enough of you out there.
What a fucking loser. Imagine wishing that, like, a show like yours existed when you were growing up and being Steven Crowder. Like, his content is garbage. That's really weird. And also, like, isn't his platform more adult-oriented anyway? Like, it's supposed to be for adults? Or is he just like, is this a mask-off moment where he's admitting that, like, he knows where his content is going and it's going directly into the skulls of young children, right? Of, like, teenage boys? I'm just saying. Interesting to think about.
That there weren't. I was told by the powers that be that you didn't exist. I was told that the only way to make a living in this business was to cater to older conservative generations, and that comedy, that entertainment, that edgy quote-unquote content didn't work on the right side of the spectrum. An entertainment show would never work. All of you are the only reason that we here were even remotely vindicated. And Mug Club sealed it. I remember exactly where I was when I thought up the idea of Mug Club. I remember who I was with. I remember what I was eating. I remember why. I could see the writing on the wall back then, the big tech censorship on the horizon, the diminishing advertising revenue day by day, and I knew full well that demonetization from these platforms, it was inevitable.
Oh yeah, big tech censorship of Steven Crowder's show. Hold on, 5.94 million subscribers, 1.3 million views, and he looks like he's doing pretty well. I don't know, like maybe I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing the censorship that he's referring to, but you know, to me it seems a little bit contradictory.
But I wasn't really sure that this would work. At that point in time, getting anyone to subscribe to anything was pretty much impossible. Everything on the internet was basically free except for pornography. Even, Netflix, the only player in the space at the time between shipping DVDs of Poltergeist 3.
Wait, pornography was absolutely free. You just weren't looking in the right spots. He he never searched like boobies on google.com? Like, okay.
They were struggling with online streaming. But I found a great partnership back then, a partnership with a company called CRTV, which later purchased The Blaze and used that name going forward. And on election night, 2016, so many of you signed up that the back end of our site crashed, we couldn't handle it. And it only grew from there.
You know what? Maybe it was just like his specific brand of porn was not free. Now that makes more sense. There are some kinks out there that are really expensive.
I want to be clear about something. This video here, it's not about The Blaze. When they were purchased by CRTV, the company's goals, their vision simply grew further apart from mine. From ours here. It just wasn't the right fit. Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about some things and the handling of Mug Club leaving, and that's why we launched mugclubforever.com, where you can sign up just to be able to reach you. This really isn't about that, so I want to create some separation here.
Blaze, news and entertainment for people who love America. I've heard of it. Teen who received lenient sentence for barreling into a mom and baby has been murdered. The universe delivered the justice we weren't given in court. What the fuck? No, you don't murder people for being convicted of crimes. You don't do that. No. That's not a good thing. Everybody deserves their day in fucking court, especially if they're a teenager. What the fuck? Well, that's cool. First news article on theblaze.com. Perfect. It's so weird to me that they're like so pro-cop, and yet seemingly they just want vigilante justice all the time. Like, I don't know how they hold those two ideas in their heads. Because, like, they're the ones with the Punisher stickers on the back of their goddamn Ford, whatever it is.
Business relationships end all the time. That's business. But I was in a period to field offers from other people, other key players in this movement. They flooded in. Now, before you guess who it is.
New Ford F-150. We will irritate the fuck out of the people in front of us. I guarantee you. I tell you what.
Before you start trying to do some Sherlock Holmes work, there are far more people beneath the tip of the iceberg than you know about who are trying to get into this space. There are more than you would probably assume. So I went into free agency. I looked over the offers, and I saw the clause come out. And I don't just mean unreasonable demands for control, but what I would argue are immoral terms that actually punish conservative content creators on behalf of big tech.
Where are his goons at anyway? Like, they're awfully quiet. Are they in this video, or did he just like go off on his own, like while they were beating their wives or something, and he just like decided to record this on a whim? And he's like, what could possibly go wrong, right? I don't know.
Something that I just couldn't unsee, and I want to let you.
It's only been 7 minutes. Maybe they're in the background.
It's the rule. Kids out there. Coming up, we need to build a bench here in this movement. It's almost impossible. Don't sign these contracts. I now know what you are signing out there. I have the luxury of not having to. I don't have to be here. I don't have to say this. Please, don't sign this. Certainly not without professional legal counsel representation. Do not sign something that includes, let me go through this.
Ooh, okay.
Effectively, full ownership of all your social media platforms, channels, in perpetuity, the rights to your content, name, image, likeness.
Yeah,
even
it's
the ones that
fucked
you
up.
built.
Imagine a conservative organization doing that, dude. Man, that's so crazy. They've never done that.
Don't sign contracts out there that include multi-million-dollar penalties for different. Let me read you an example of what I mean. And this would be if it was me. If Crowder fails to deliver a monthly content, in any month or any of the quarterly content in the corner, including any and all ad reads, and by the way, all these contracts came with 3, 4, 5 ad reads per show, which would fundamentally change what this show is. Got to get those dollar bills. So I failed to do that. It would be a $250,000 reduction in fees per quarter.
Lots of money.
If, let's say,
fees.
we did do everything per quarter, but annually maybe miss something. Like let's say we went and did a Change My Mind instead of a daily show.
It kind of just sounds like he's mad at corporations being able to do whatever the fuck they want, right? Which they kind of gesture at sometimes, like, with Twitter especially, before Elon bought it, and now they're suspiciously quiet about it, despite the fact that basically nothing is different except it's like 10,000 times worse for everybody. But like, that's what you want? Like, that's capitalism. That's capitalism. And they're like, well, that's not real capitalism. Oh, is it not real capitalism? Wow, that's really? All this time I was told that what socialists want, when we say that like the Soviet Union was not real socialism, yeah, it's really odd that you would use that line, That's crazy.
Which of course requires a lot more work. There'd be a separate $1 million penalty for that if you miss a single piece of content.
They didn't even counter the
And the amount of content required is not in line with, frankly, it's worse than Disney. It's worse than ABC. It's worse than NBC. It's worse than CBS.
You got to bargain a little bit. He's just whining.
His ownership of you and everything that you do. But here's, just to drive it home, don't sign something that has another $100,000 daily penalty if it's not signed off on.
Before $100,000?
You get hit by a car, you have a sick day, you could lose $100,000 a day.
Wow.
Hey, anyone wonder why there's burnout? Anyone wonder why you have kids come up and they leave?
Who this is.
They never to come back? You think if you had that kind of a penalty, you think if someone said, hey, we're going to penalize you $10,000 every day you miss coming into work, you think you'd be stressed? This is worse than the left frames their contracts. Again,
He's mad because he doesn't get paid leave, but doesn't think new parents should get paid maternity leave. Sounds hypocritical. No. It's different. It's different.
Of course I didn't sign any of these things.
It's totally different.
But I now know what other kids are signing out there. And here's the worst part. Yeah, that's terrible.
You simple-minded fool.
I just think that's wrong to treat people that way.
Wow. Huh? Interesting.
This is where, in going through this, and I need to take some time because, look, I've always tried to be a happy warrior, and I want to go back to that. I haven't been happy for a while. I haven't been happy for a while because when you know what goes on behind these scenes and you see how many people are complicit, it creates an air of hopelessness. It really does. Where you think the people who are supposed to be linking arms and fighting with you, fighting for you, want to punish you. So here's the worst part. Do not, kids, under any circumstances, sign a contract with people who claim to be conservative, but will penalize you 25% for any demonetization or sponsor boycott. Look, let me read this to you. Let's start with the demonetization. If blank is boycotted or dropped by more than 50% of the advertising partners, the company is not able to replace them within 90 days, the fee will be reduced by 25%. That's a sponsorship boycott. So that's saying, hey, liberals, boycotts work. They work on our guys.
Well, yeah, because you're not, like, they're not making as much money as is outlined in your contract that you're supposed to make them. So yeah, they're allowed to do that. I don't like it either. I don't like the fucking system. But I've been saying that for the 2 years that I've been streaming. So like, meanwhile, you've been licking ass of all of these corporations saying that like, no, actually it's BLM and like the socialists that are bad. When all we want is, honestly, Steven, come join us. Come be a socialist, man. Like, really, like, make your platform into socialism. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be sick. Speak out against the corporations. That'd be awesome.
Liberals, boycotts work.
Like, actually do it.
They work on our guys.
Right now, he's just throwing a hissy fit because he is experiencing the downfalls of capitalism. And this is how you know he's a grifter, by the way. He, like, if the Sam Cedar debacle wasn't enough, and, like, you could tell he cognitively understood that he could not best Sam Cedar in a debate. Like, he was fucked. And that's why he wanted to take on Ethan Klein, because he had all the good talking points, step A, step B, step C, his dialogue line, that he could use against somebody who's not very well versed in debate. But trying to do that against somebody like Sam Cedar, who regularly debates idiots like Steven Crowder, I don't know about daily, but like certainly regularly, call into a show and he just busts their fucking ass, dude, rhetorically. He knew that he could not go up against that. But now he's just upset because his income, his well-being is being impacted, or at least it would be by this offer, right? So I don't know, like he's upset for, like, it's socialism for me, but not for thee, right? Like he doesn't want He doesn't want corporations taking advantage of him, but it's fine if they take advantage of everybody else.
Push them for you. Let me go on. Specifically, YouTube demonetization.
What a fucking nightmare.
If any of the major platforms issues a content
no,
strike
Sam
such that Crowder
Cedar
cannot be monetized on such platform, and the company is not able to resolve the issue within 90 days, the fee will be reduced by 25%.
Oh no, capitalism! What a fucking nightmare!
This was a mistake because these people maybe didn't know who I am, that we've been demonetized for 3 years. No, it's made very clear to me in no uncertain terms. This is what's sent out to everybody. And then if you get a strike, meaning a suspension, another 20% reduction. And then another 20% of it happens on Apple. And then another 10% of it happens on Facebook. And then another 10% of it happens on Spotify. Imagine you're deplatformed, as we've seen in the past, where all of the major entities decide to remove you in one day. Rather than having a conservative alternative, you would now be down to 5 to 15% of the revenue of your contract. Think about this for a second. Those in charge, the big conservative, the big con, and it really is the biggest con going right now, they're making it known in their contracts that they will enforce the guidelines of big tech and punish conservatives on their behalf. Don't worry, Wojcicki. Trust me.
They have to. This is the downfall of being a conservative on social media and on YouTube stuff and stuff like that, right? There are very many benefits. You are always controversial. You are always problematic. You're allowed to be because you're a fucking conservative and you're an asshole. You can say whatever you want, basically, as long as you're not advocating for literal murder in a direct way, at least. You can say pretty much whatever you want as a conservative. But the downfall is your ideas, at least the implications of those ideas, often get you in trouble with advertisers, right? Like, advertisers understand the way the world is moving. LGBT issues are, moving in a progressive direction. Legislation thereof is moving in a progressive direction. It's mostly like socially progressive stuff. Like, Islamophobia is no longer in style. Racism has been out of style since forever. And social media platforms and, advertisers first and foremost, and thus social media advertisers, abide by that. They have to appeal to the most amount of people possible. And right now, conservative ideas just are not that palatable. They're really not. Like, most people are at least a little bit progressive. So when you're out here just being blatantly homophobic, blatantly racist, etc., and being this problematic, yeah, you're going to attract a lot of attention, but you're also going to repel advertisers because people will not buy products from people who are being that openly problematic in a way that is repulsive, quite frankly, right? It is repulsive. So advertisers are picking up on that, and Steven Crowder just does not like that. So what are you going to do? So, and also like The Blaze, I think that's the people who are trying to hire him or whatever, also understand that. Even as a conservative outlet, they understand that as well. They have their limitations. They have to, dampen their power level a little bit. Otherwise, the advertisers flee. They go off, they scatter. They don't want to pay anymore. So, sorry, sucks to suck.
These conservatives will stay in line. If they get demonetized, we take away 25% of their operating budget. Take another 20% away if they get a hard strike. Hey, don't worry, Zuckerberg. We've got your back. Hope to see you at the UFC Apex.
He's so mad,
Can you imagine if this show not only was never permitted to take risks per our contract as it relates to big tech guidelines, like as far as the content guidelines, right? There's content guidelines and there's advertiser guidelines. Can you imagine a world where this show could never take risks in relation to those guidelines on, say, things like mRNA injections, election integrity, take your pick. But one step further, if this
don't say things like mRNA injections. What specifically about mRNA injections, Stephen? Like medical misinformation, like that? Yeah, don't say that. It's wrong and it hurts people. So maybe don't say that. I think that's a reasonable thing to abide by.
Show had to be advertiser friendly on YouTube. Those guidelines pretty much read, don't say anything offensive ever. Well, what's offensive? Whatever is stuck in Susan Wojcicki's craw that day.
I mean, yeah.
I wish those at the
Kind of. I mean, that's how YouTube does it. That's how they've always done it, right? Except, if you're Steven Crowder. But like YouTube has really strict guidelines on what they find offensive material. Same with Twitch, even Twitter kind of started going that direction a little bit. I think Twitter is probably still the most, like, for lack of better terms, they still allow the most like problematic language, I think. They do have their limitations, but I think Twitter is like the most open about it still. But like, yeah, I mean, YouTube they've always done this, and it repels permissive. Thank you. Again, I reiterate, it repels advertisers when you are being that problematic, when you're being that risque, when you're being that dirty, when you're being that racist, homophobic, sexist, Advertisers don't like that. Not in style. Sorry. You are out of style.
Big conservative with, granted, yeah, a lot of the money, wanted to do better.
Progressive is the new black, baby.
That's why I've created StopBigCon.com, and you can be a signatory, and our plans therein. Look, Like I said, I have the luxury of not signing this. I don't need it. I've been demonetized for years. We've adapted here precisely because of Mug Club. The free content only exists because of those who subscribe. I've promised you we won't do more than one.
Okay, so here's stopbitcon.com. Stay in hashtag Mug Club or join anew. So what? You just sign up for an email list? That's the whole website? I feel like Patchy the Pirate, where he's like, that's it? That's the whole website? It's just an email sign-up list.
Sponsorship spot per show. I will keep my word on that until this show ends. Why? Because it's designed for you. It's not designed for the sponsors. If it's 4, 5, 6, 7 sponsors, they're no longer the product. You're the product.
Mug Club mean? Like my thing's the beanie, right? Even though it still kind of is, I guess. But his thing is the mug. So my icon is a beanie. His icon is a mug, and that's why he calls it the Mug Club. I used to call my followers the Beanie Boys, which still pops up here and there. But yeah, it's the brand. Yeah.
So we've adapted here.
I think the beanie is cooler than the mug,
and we're not
personally.
beholden to sponsors who might get boycotted, because the sponsors that we have are going to go wherever we go anyway. We know that beyond any shadow of a doubt. That's the luxury of doing business honestly and loyalty. But to the kids out there coming up who don't have that luxury, please don't sign these. You can do better. We can all do better. And the only reason at this point for me to stay and continue doing what I've been doing is to make sure that we all do better. So to everyone out there who refuses to sign or is under the cloud of these maybe not entirely enforceable contracts, look.
It's a big club where they all drink mug root beer together. That'd be a weird, honestly, I would respect it. That's so niche that I would actually respect it. Like there's just a fan base for mug root beer, mug brand root beer. I would respect that.
Here's your signal. Water's warm here. I'll produce your show. We'll produce your show. If there are enough of you out there, I will transition Mug Club into a full-scale network with independent content creators who don't want to be locked into slave contracts. Look, I understand that business relationships sometimes fall through. People don't see eye to eye. I get.
Dude, don't they shit on socialists for comparing to say the word wage slavery or the term wage slavery? Don't they shit on us for that? They do, don't they? Really odd that you would choose to call it slavery. You can leave the contract, dude, can't you? You can buy your way out of the contract, can't you? What are you talking about? Now, to be clear here, I do think that there is a parallel to be made between exploitative contracts like that and slavery. There is a reasonable parallel you can make, especially with the music industry, right? I'm not going to say it's a one-to-one comparison because clearly slavery is the worst of the evils. But take the music industry, the record label industry. Terrible. It's a meme how terrible it is, how parasitic it is when you have these starving artist musicians just trying to make their name known, just trying to live their day-to-day life while doing what they love and providing one of the oldest form of entertainment known to man almost. You know what I mean? Music. Everybody likes music. There's not a single person who does not like music, and if you are one of them, you're lying. Everybody likes music in one form or another. So musicians, at least decent ones up to and including fantastic ones, cannot make a living or struggle to live day to day until the record label shows up and they're like, Hey, buddy. They got that big cigar. Hey, buddy, we like your music. What do you think about signing this contract here? We'll give you $1 million a day. But we own your ass. We own your face. We own your labels. We own everything about you. You are ours. You are our slave. You are our footstool. You have to, when we say bend over, you ask how low, right? And then you sign it because you're like, this is it. This is my big breakthrough. And then they go on to, the record label goes on to force you to make more music. It's not as inspired. It's really shitty. People love you anyway. But some people don't. And then you get a big head, and there's a whole trope that goes on with this, but it does not end well usually. Personally, I think there's a good parallel to be made there. It's just interesting that Steven Crowder is bitching about it. And also, he's Steven fucking Crowder. He's not a starving artist. Like he said, and this is true, he has the luxury of not needing to sign the contract.
But there is a way to structure these contracts and a network. There's a world in which contracts and a network exists where everyone benefits with some semblance of fairness, transparency. There's no need to be enslaved like this. If you're out there right now and you're making content work on whatever scale that may be,
called it
there are
slavery.
levels to this game. I understand that. And you'd like to have some backup. You'd like to have some brothers, sisters, Z's in arms, some security without losing your shirt.
To be fair, I don't think he's hiding how much he makes, but he does hide the fact that he's not even close to being censored. He literally thinks that he's being censored all the time. Either that or he's faking it, which, I don't know which it is. It doesn't fucking matter. But that's really the only thing he really lies about, as far as that goes, at least. He's not quiet about how much money he makes. I think, honestly, he would have no reason to lie about it. Let's just say that.
Send your email to creators@louderwithcrowder.com and we'll talk. You want a partnership? Great. Can probably work something out. You want the security of being an employee? Could probably make that work too. There are many ways to skin this cat. And you know what? If Mug Club or whatever network it becomes
that phrase.
Isn't,
especially now that I have a cat. Please no.
For you,
don't skin the cat.
If this isn't the right home for you, we have lawyers and representation who will negotiate your contract for you with anyone else out there at half the market rate. Why? Because I don't like this, and I'm going to end this. We all need to end this together. I have plenty of friends. I could use a few enemies. There is strength in numbers. And if you, watching right now, if you want a network that you can truly call your own, I just ask that you enter in your email at stopbigcon.com. Entering in your email makes you a signatory. It's a statement that you want, not just Mug Club, but you want a network that does better. So it's either time for Mug Club to go big or it's time for me to go home.
Should leftists sign that? You know, like, should we like add some fuel to the fire that's burning internally in the conservative social media circles? Honestly, it might not be the worst idea. Like, really stoke the flames. Get it burning. Yeah, feed the flame. Feed the fire. Let it burn.
I can't change this all by myself. I really can't. And frankly, swimming upstream with just this one show...
Be an employee of Crowder, yeah. Be an employee of Steven Crowder. That actually would be a really good undercover bit. You know what I mean? Like, go in as an employee, but like you're secretly a disgusting, crusty anarchist. And you're like working under the radar to like feed him lines or whatever that will get him canceled by conservatives. I don't know how that would work, but you could make it work.
It's a futile endeavor. So either Mug Club grows,
feed them to the pigs,
and we,
yes.
you, start setting the standard for this movement. We right this ship, or you know what? I'll go back to doing maybe occasional videos, stand up. I don't need to do this. It's that simple. My life would be less complicated.
Yeah, go back to stand up. You know he's good at that.
There's a reason that if you felt this way, let me put it this way, and I've heard feedback from you. If you feel in your gut that a lot of conservative content out there feels homogenous, feels sanitized, feels like they're missing some key points. There's a reason
missing key points
for that. There's a reason that you often...
Wait, what key point does he think conservatives are missing? They're literally out here like they might as well be advocating for the genocide of fucking drag queens, quote unquote, which in that they just mean like trans people. But like they literally do that without outright saying it. They're like, oh yeah, no, trans people like are bad and they're groomers and they're bad groomers and we should stop them, right? That's what they say. They're right on the money. They're like one step removed from like complete fascist ideology. What's missing to Steven, if not that one step toward fascist ideology, right? And also, by the way, I have been noticing ever since the Kanye situation, there's kind of been a schism, especially with Ben Shapiro. Because Ben Shapiro made it very clear from the instant that Kanye came out as an anti-Semite that he did not like this, not one bit. But like, not all of the conservatives agreed with Ben Shapiro. Like, either they were silent about it or like Alex Jones really tried to help him save face, right? Like, well, you don't mean that you're anti-Semitic. You like just don't say that part, right? Like, he really tried to help him like go around it, like really imply it but not say it. So it is interesting that Ben Shapiro is kind of getting caught in the crossfire here. That's what happens, man. First, they came for the communists, right? They all support Kanye's messaging. Yes. Exactly. They support his message. His messaging needed work because now he's completely and utterly canceled. I haven't even heard from him in forever. I don't know what he's doing. And I don't think most people do because he's deplatformed. Nobody wants him on anymore. Nobody wants to advertise him anymore. Nobody wants to touch him anymore. He's toxic. He's poison. I think he went missing. Like literally went missing. Well, that scares me. I don't want him to fucking die or anything. He's clearly not mentally well. Oh God. I hope he's okay. Like I don't want him to get hurt or anything. That concerns me. How do I not know that? But anyway, point being, nobody wants to touch Kanye with a 10-foot pole anymore. So they supported his message, not his messaging, right?
Didn't find yourself asking, hey, I wonder why X won't talk about Y.
Gotta read between the lines.
And I don't know.
Or speak
any contract that I would have signed
guess.
would have turned this into yet another softer radio show on video, littered with live reads for every sponsor that could be crammed into every single episode possible.
Wait, he does that anyway.
Change my mind type segments, the spontaneity, the levity that's made this show exactly what it is. Oh, and by the way, I was told would never work by the same powers that be.
This is kind of what Twitch does anyway, right? Like Twitch does this. Like when you're a Twitch partner, they make you sign a fucking contract saying you won't do this and you will do that and you won't do this and that thing. And like you have to jam pack your live streams with advertisements out the fucking wazoo anymore. They make Hassan, the guy who, at least previously, I think he still is, took him from a 1-minute ad break every hour to a 1-minute ad break in the middle of the hour and then a 3-minute ad break at the end of it. So they quadrupled his advertisement output. And it's still not that much when you compare it to like cable television, I guess. But they force you into this. You have to do it if you want to play with the big boys. You have to. They corner you. They want to make their money, and the way they make their money is through advertisement. Never mind, he was found. Okay, good. I'm glad he's safe.
And the real reason the stakes are so high for us here, but me specifically, look, either I'm a break glass in case of emergency candidate here, just to start a network and to actually start helping people out there who don't enjoy the same luxuries that we do of being independent.
Oh no, please don't.
Oh
God, he's going to start throwing money at people like Think Before You Sleep, which I don't think he needs the money either, but people like him, like really, really bad and not funny and not entertaining conservative content creators that like botted their way up to the top. Like those kinds of people. Please don't do that. That would be bad.
And here's the thing. All at once, it kind of hit me. And I had to take some time, I hope you understand, to really pray and contemplate this. And it hit me. After all of these years, even after
he did take
all
off his holsters.
Time, after all of you have...
That's how you know it's serious when the holsters come off.
...with your dollar and your viewership and your support. You've shown what's possible.
But honestly, I complimented his physique at the beginning. I think he looks so much better without the holsters. Like, why are you hiding that, dude? You got a good physique up here. Take off the fucking holsters. They make you look like a pussy.
In supporting this, the largest show in the conservative movement, bar none, just to be clear. And I don't often advertise that. I don't lead my show with that. I want the content to speak for itself. But I also realize that you need to understand you're a part of something bigger than maybe you realize. It's the biggest show in the movement, bar none. The last election night on Rumble, bigger numbers than any mainstream show on YouTube. That's significant. That's you. And while I'm grateful and humble, false humility does you a disservice. But even after all this time, after all of you have voted with your dollar, with your viewership, with your support, after you've set records, it wasn't, and it's not, I should say in the present tense, it's not that the suits in charge...
I feel like we get the idea, right?
...of these places, Big Con, and these sites, these media companies, it's not that they still believe...
Listen, also... I'm honest, okay? I hate conservatives, but I'm honest. He's got a good fucking body.
...that this show can't work.
Thank you so much.
It's not that they any longer believe that you don't exist. Those at the top, those pulling the strings in Big Con, are bothered precisely by the fact that you do. They don't want a group of rebellious rabble-rousers who want to learn, fight like hell, and laugh together. You're of no value if you can't all be kept in line to some degree. I don't mean some master plan to eliminate you.
Not wrong.
Just subdue you a little bit. Just soften your edges a little bit. Just play ball a little more so we can keep our content all monetized and keep having cocktails with those in charge of big tech. They want you to do that, and they're forcing many of the people you watch to do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And I'm willing to bet that most of you watching right now can't do that. But okay, you know what? No. Let me rephrase. Of course I could. Of course I could do that. I won't do that.
I do think that this is him just like saying it, right? Like he's not going to soften his content for the sake of advertisers. What that means is that he's just going to go full fash and he doesn't give a damn what happens. Like he's just going to, I don't think he'll actually do that, to be clear. But I can't really see what he means. If not, like what does he think they'll stop him from saying? You know what I mean? Like what? Like he won't be able to wear like the big the sun hat and put on the buck teeth and act like a Chinese man anymore. Like, yeah, that's cringe, dude. Don't do that. That's too mask off. Don't do that. Like, he's just upset that he can't do racist caricatures anymore. That's what this is all about. He wants to be able to do racist caricatures, and they're like, no, dude, you can't. No, that's too much even for us, dude. You can't do that. And he's like, but the buck teeth, and the funny Chinese voice. I want to say the ching chong thing and do funny Chinese stuff. And like, no, dude, no. Like that's just a bit too far. He's like, well, fuck you then. Fuck you. I'm gonna go my own way. Steve, I'm Gitao now. Steven Crowder going their own way, his own way, and his blackface impression with black farmers. Yeah. And then like saying Hennessy Farms, I guess, which I don't think is like even correct as a racist trope, but whatever.
And I'm willing to bet that most of you won't either. Let me know just how many of you won't. Enter in your email at stopbigcon.com. Now, I just need some time to figure out how to do this. The requirement for infrastructure.
Thank for the follow, jerk.
Light years beyond what we would need for just this show. Some time to solve this puzzle as to how I can best and most efficiently accommodate you. And hopefully, some time to restore my faith in a movement which frankly has been shaken by some. Not all. There are a lot of good people in this movement, but some really bad actors among us. And rather than throw anyone under the bus or continue this long, drawn-out drama playing out in the public square, I'd rather focus on how to serve you, the only people who truly matter in this movement and to this company. And I would say to the future of this country, you.
Big Con, that's Ben Shapiro on the Daily Caller. Later, Crowder says something about producers with Jewish last names being a problem. Ooh, spoilers, thank you.
The average American who's watching, not the person who's creating the content and framing the contracts, you, right now, at home, in your car.
I hope it gets juicy, because it's been boring.
So in the interim, as I figure this out, pardon my dust, I'll still be on my social media pages. The silence is over now. I know I've been sort of gone to radio silence. I'll still be doing stand-up shows that you can always check out at louderwithbetter.com/tour. I'll actually probably do some more of those. I think I'm in Kentucky February 10th. You can go and check it out. I may even upload the occasional video.
Wait, he'll be in Kentucky February 10th? Somebody tell Shark 300.
February 10th. You can go and check it out. I may even upload the occasional video. I don't know. Also, I don't really do a lot of press. The last time I did it was, I think, the Vox Apocalypse, because I just do this show. For the first time in a while, I'll make myself available. I'll talk about this. So anyone who wants to learn more, anyone who has the balls to talk about this, isn't afraid from the backlash of maybe not getting the guests from the people who want to try and pinch us, you can send an email to media@louderwithcrowder.com and send in your inquiries here. I'll make myself available to talk about this. Now, if we are going to keep doing this, we need to do it right. And I need to do this in a way that does right by you, because you are the future of this country. You are the catalyst for change, not some major media company, not some guy in a boardroom figuring out ways to sell you more reverse mortgages, gold, or fucking pocket catheters. It's you. It's always been
pocket catheters.
You. Those in Big Con would do well to not lose sight of that. So I want to be clear. Make no mistake. The liberals out there foaming at the mouth, this is not me turning against conservatism or an incident of friendly fire at all. Everything that I've ever stood for, I'm standing for now. It's precisely because I believe what I say that I'm doing this. And by the way, too many of these people aren't our friends. So this is the last call
like
to those conservative businesses in on the Big Con. You have a chance. Join me in making this right. You know you've lost your way. It's never too late to correct.
You've lost your way, son.
We can all work together.
I don't know what happened to you, son, but you're not the same.
There's no reason that it is this way. I don't know why. I've tried to get an answer. I don't understand it. It doesn't have to be this way. Let's all reset and do it right. And if not, hey, I'll do it without you. And Mug Club is coming for all of it.
Oh, dude, did you hear that? Mug Club is coming, dude. You cannot stop the Mug Club from coming. They'll fill the whole mug with how much they're coming.
Now, everyone else, everyone who's watched, listened, paid attention in any way, either right now or throughout the years, I just ask that you join me in letting them know that there are far more of us, far more of you than of them. Demand change, demand better, be a signatory. That's what this is. It's not just entering in your email. It's letting these people know.
By the way, this whole time he's never even said like what he wants to say that they're not letting him say, or like what he wants to do that they're not letting him do. It's been a very vague gesturing of like, they're modifying my behavior in very gentle ways, like, just soften up the edges a little bit here and there, but then it becomes this and this and that thing, and blah, 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 blah. But like, you're not being specific. Like, what specifically are they stopping you from doing that you want to do? You can't say it, and you can't do it. So like, what's the deal?
At Big Con, that you want something different, that you require better. Because you know what? I am going to march into these people's offices, these nameless, faceless people's offices, with your declaration and the number of you who exist. Those in Big Con are personally going to know just how many of you are equally pissed.
Marching strapped up, dude.
You and the number of you out there are officially going to be their report card. Not a handful of old money billionaires, not career, political, and nonprofit lobbyists. You're a signatory. This is their report card, and all of you are the reckoning. And if enough of you draft me, fine. I'll be your instrument. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Damn, Steven Crowder is going to be your instrument, dude. I don't know if I could turn that off or down. Steven Crowder.
.bigcon.com. Please enter in your email.
You see that
comment
body?
below, hit the like, all of that, because it helps the algorithm. And
he'll be your instrument,
make sure that they see this.
You can play him like a fucking fiddle if you want, all night.
And stay tuned. Probably going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride.
Wait, who told me that he called out Ben Shapiro specifically? He didn't, you liar. I could have ended the video earlier, but then I wouldn't have made the funny sex joke. So, I guess, whatever. Anyway, this is not the end of the segment yet, believe it or not. This is going to be a long-ass segment because that's not the end of the drama. Ben Shapiro came out with his response. Steven Crowder's latest video tragically proves that he knows nothing about three things. 1, business. 2, contract negotiation. 3, friendship and decency. Again, here's Jeremy going through our full initial, non-binding offer to Steven line by line. There's 52 minutes. I can't watch that. Well, there is a Ben Shapiro react nonetheless. Hold on.
Well, folks, I'm sure many of you have seen the controversy that has broken out between, I would say, our former friend, Steven Crowder, and those of us here at
Ooh, former friend.
Either this has to stop, or I'm going to have to stop.
And it makes me sick to my stomach. I know that my business partner, Jeremy Boring, has made him sick to his stomach as well, because we had always considered Steven a friend. I was Steven's first lawyer. I helped negotiate his contract with Fox News going all the way back.
I didn't know Ben was a lawyer. I literally didn't know that.
At least over a decade.
It checks out.
And Steven and I had always been very friendly. I know Jeremy was even friendlier with Steven, had counseled him in very rough times. I had personally attempted to intervene when Steven was demonetized in June 2019 on YouTube.
Just say you were sleeping with him, dude. Like, it's fine, Ben. This is queer-coded. They're queer-coding us.
I actually sounded off so loudly that the people at YouTube reached out to me, and Susan Wojcicki, the head of YouTube, got on the phone with me, and I reamed her out over demonetizing Steven. And I hope it made a difference.
He looks like he's lost sleep over this.
He's an incredibly talented comedian. I also think that what he is doing to my friend Jeremy Boring right now is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen in politics.
He was crying just before. He's like, Steven, why? Steven, why did you do this, Steven? You could have just signed the contract. Okay.
really is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. In order to understand what's happening, I think you have to understand a couple of things. So, for those who missed the story, basically, we offered Stephen a term sheet, a non-binding term sheet. A non-binding term sheet is exactly what it sounds like. It is a list of terms for a proposed negotiation for a contract. And the negotiation happens, then you come to a final contract. That is what a non-binding term sheet is.
His babyface does
solicited us to make him an offer. This is when he was in his closing days with the...
You just reminded me that he tried the beard one time, like for 1 or 2 episodes, and then he shaved it after the backlash. Everyone, even his side, knew that it didn't look good.
And so we sent him over a non-binding term sheet for $50 million over the course of 4 years with an additional 2-year option at $25 million. That is, as it sounds like, a lot of money. But we thought that Stephen is worth it because Stephen is, again, an incredibly talented guy with a very, very large following. And if you want to hear the actual terms of...
No doubt about his following. I cannot cap that. But entertaining, he's racist, sexist, and homophobic and transphobic. And that's draw. He is a master of shock content. Let's say that. I will give him full points for that.
The term sheet, all you have to do is go to the description on this particular video or head on over to YouTube and you can see my business partner, Jeremy Boring, read the terms word for word. Stephen's original video in which he attacked us. So this week, Stephen attacked Jeremy Boring and attacked the Daily Wire and suggested that if we had essentially offered him an enslavement contract that would have robbed him of all of his freedom and made him subject to the whims of big tech and all the rest of this kind of bull. And it's just not true. Jeremy, unlike Stephen, read the entire text of the term sheet on the air and goes through it piece by piece and explains exactly how it works. And in short, all the contract says is, we are offering you this gigantic sum of money. And if you start to lose money for the company and for yourself because you lose YouTube, for example, then we both lose money, so you lose some money. Because this is typically how contracts work. On this show, for example, if I lose advertising and the revenue of the show goes down, then I lose revenue personally because the revenue of the show has gone down. So again, if you want the details, the legalistic details of all this, you can check out Jeremy's video. It is absolutely comprehensive and irrefutable because again, he reveals, I've never seen anybody else do this, he reveals literally the entirety of what was supposed to be confidential term sheet that Stephen decided to partially leak.
That's assuming Walsh would even be able to pull. All right, I don't even think he would get any hits on fucking Grindr. All right,
for his own benefit. And this is the part that's really ugly. Okay, so the part that's really ugly is the betrayal of friendship. So last night, Steven Crowder, in response to Jeremy reading the entire term sheet and saying somehow Stephen misconstrued this and is using this to attack us and launch a website called Stop Big Con, as though we are in the pocket of big tech. We are in the pocket of big tech. We who have invested literally tens of millions of dollars building alternatives to big tech. We who put up people like Matt Walsh and
yet you're still here on YouTube. Rumble does exist, Ben. You know, you could go there if you want to stand by your word that you're building this thing against big tech. I'm just saying.
Candace Owens and my show, we who have been attacked by Facebook and have been attacked in the legacy media all the time and who are routinely demonetized. Well, yes, nailed it. We were in the pocket of big tech. This was Stephen's line of attack. And supposedly, this line of attack came from that term sheet, right? The idea was that the term sheet was doing the work of big tech because the term sheet suggested that if he got demonetized from YouTube and we both lost money, that he would also lose money. What he apparently wanted us to do was continue to pay him extraordinary sums of money, even if the show was losing money. It's called a charity. It is not called a business. The hardest thing to do in the conservative movement or anywhere else is to, 1, run a successful business, and 2, make a difference.
Yeah.
We here at Daily Wire do both things. In fact, we try to generate a profit so we can continue to make a difference. And it turns out when you lose money, you don't actually have the wherewithal or the resources in order to do things, like spend enormous quantities of money making What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, or making The Greatest Lie Ever Sold by Candace.
Ben is just explaining to Stephen right now how contracts work. It's kind of funny. Like, it is just a contract. Like, I'm sorry, dude. You sign a contract, you make some money, you lose some assets to the corporation, which, is how you make your money. And then you have rules and stipulations to be guided by. And that's it. I really don't know what Stephen thinks he's going to get out of this. I don't know why he's doing this. Maybe he's like feeling like he's losing relevancy. He feel like he's being outshone by people like Ben Shapiro. Who knows? Maybe there's a little jealousy going on,
Owens. Or funding the investigative reporters who shift the Virginia gubernatorial race by uncovering what happens in Loudoun County. Or put out good information each and every day to rebut the evils of the Biden administration, or spend the millions of dollars it takes to sue the Biden administration to stop the OSHA vax mandate, or any of that kind of stuff. That costs money.
Biden administration.
In order to make that money, you have to run a business. You can't run a charity for your hosts. That apparently is what Stephen wanted, but Stephen decides that this is, supposedly his story is, that he was so offended by this.
Stephen wants some affirmative action, boys. He wants some freebies. He ain't getting it.
Term sheet, he just had to speak out. He had to stand up for the little guy, right? Okay, there are a bunch of problems with this. I was willing to stay silent on all of this.
Yeah, problem number 1 being, that's what socialists do. Conservatives don't do that. Conservatives stand up for the corporations that pay them or the ones that they own. But socialists, on the other hand, are the ones who stand up for the little guy. Make sure that the little guy's getting what they deserve. So Steven Crowder's being a big fat socialist. That's the main problem.
Generally speaking, and not get into the weeds and not get into Stephen's personal conduct until the point when he personally recorded a phone call with my best friend, Jeremy Boring, and then proceeded to release that publicly.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
It is disgusting and it is vile on a pure human level. Jeremy, again, has gone out of his way for Stephen more times than I can count.
Yeah, honestly, like, objectively speaking, first of all, I don't give a fuck that he did that. They're all pieces of shit. But objectively speaking, that's really bad. That's really bad, okay? It's drama, sure, but, like, you know, it's conservative infighting, so I'm a fan of this.
He has counseled Stephen personally, and Stephen decided in premeditated fashion that he was going to tape his friend and then release it to grow his email list. It is that simple. And I'll show you the timeline here, because the case here is that, again, this term sheet that he got, he was so offended by it, he just had to speak up. He couldn't be held back any longer. He had to speak up on behalf of the little guy. Okay, I'm going to read you the timeline of what happened during this negotiation.
He could not hold it back anymore. He was premature.
And when he decided to tape his friend, his supposed friend, Jeremy Boring. So here is the timeline here. October 5th, 2022 is when we sent Stephen this supposedly evil term sheet. So evil. So you would imagine that if the term sheet was that evil, October 6th, he couldn't have held back. How could you guys do this? It would just October 5th is when we sent him this term sheet offering him $50 million over 4 years plus a 2-year extension for $25 million. You know, basketball player type money. On November 2nd, Stephen called up Jeremy and said, I want $30 million a year and a bunch of changes to the term sheet. I'm not going to redline the term sheet. I'm not going to edit the term sheet. I just want you.
Yeah, no, the website that Stephen links, Duke, is just an email list. Like, it's just to put your email into his, like, subscription list. That's all it is.
You send me a brand new offer. On November 6th, 4 days later, remember, this is after he's already sounded off. He's got the term sheet. He's had it for a month. November 6th was election night. You'll recall, if you're a Daily Wire fan, Stephen Crowder appeared on our election night coverage. Everything was very friendly. Everything was very chummy.
Daily Wire.
Everything was great.
Hell yeah.
November 14th or thereabouts, we decided that we couldn't meet his demands, that his demands were not rational in business terms, that he wanted too much money, and all the rest of it. So we let him know, no hard feelings. We're still friends, just like we do in every contract negotiation. As Tim Pool said on his show last night, we've had contract negotiations with Tim, and we disagreed, and we went our separate ways, and we still like Tim still likes us, and all the rest. Okay, so November 14th or thereabouts, we told Stephen that we couldn't meet his demands. Fast forward another month, December 12th, he registered the site Stop Big Con. Hey, that's when he registered it. Remember, October 5th is when he received the terms. November 14th is when we said we could not meet his demands.
That's crazy, man. I do think that Stephen, honestly, in an objective sense, Stephen is being the petty bitch here. Like, this is really weird behavior, isn't it? I don't understand it. I think Stephen's just a big attention whore.
December 12th is when he registered Stop Big Con because he knew that 3 days later he was going to be announcing that he was leaving the Blaze. He needed a plan, and attacking us was the plan. December 15th, he announced he was leaving the Blaze. A month after that, he texted Jeremy in friendly fashion to ask if they could talk. On January 9th, he called Jeremy and proceeded to tape him without permission, without Jeremy's knowledge.
That is
pretty
wild.
He proceeded to tape a person who was supposedly his friend. And remember, this is all based on the passion of the upset that he had over a term sheet that was submitted to him on October 5th. It is a month. It's actually 36 days after. So January 17th is when he launches Stop Big Con. So just to get this straight, just to get the timeline straight, because this is what we would call a premeditated move in an attempt to grow your email list. This means 104 days elapsed between when Stephen Crowder received the term sheet that we submitted to him and when he launched Stop Big Con.
You know what I think's happening? This is my conspiracy theory. Are you guys ready? I think they're trying to cut out Ben Shapiro. I think the time's come. They don't want any more Jews. I think the more time goes by, the more they're going to phase out Ben Shapiro, because he was like the first and most openly anti-Kanye when Kanye came out when Kanye came out with the anti-Semitic bullshit. I think they're going to start phasing him out. Personally think, the time for Jewish conservatives has come to an end, at least openly Jewish conservatives. They've been building up to this for so long now, like George Soros, like big Jewish billionaire. And before that, it was Bill Gates. And sometimes if you get them old enough, it still is Bill Gates in their heads. They really do not like the Jews. They're not big fans of the Jews. And Ben Shapiro happens to be one of those Jews, So maybe it's time. Maybe the time has come.
104 days. And it means that 36 days elapsed between when he decided to attack Daily Wire and Jeremy by purchasing Stop Big Con and when he called Jeremy to tape him.
Black conservatives maybe next. I think that would be a little bit too mask off at this point. Also, like the fact that Kanye was the one. Okay, here's the problem. You can vaguely gesture at George Soros, etc., because like there's this idea that like Jews have like all the money and they run all the shit, right? You can't really say that about black people. Like they'll try to sometimes. They'll be like, well, BLM runs everything. Like they tried the whole BLM line to get people on the racist train. But it didn't work as effectively as like saying they, George Soros / whoever else, or like there are Jewish space lasers aimed at your heads, and if you take 2 steps out of line, or like refuse to take the vaccine or the chip when they come for you, when George Soros's minions come for you, then they'll blast the laser directly into your skull. I don't know. The vague gesturing for Jewish people has always been there.
That means well over 3 months elapsed. Again, between when he received
Tina, how you doing?
Term sheet, which, by the way, is not egregiously evil. The term sheet is perfectly legitimate. It was the basis for further negotiation. There have been moves on both sides, but there's nothing wrong with saying to a person who produces a show, 1, you have to produce a certain number of shows, and if you don't, we're not going to pay you for the shows that you don't produce. And 2, if your show begins to lose money, you also lose money. This is how business works. This is how the media works. This is how capitalism works.
I mean, kind of. But like also, usually like if he's signing on as like a co-owner or something, then yeah. But like if you're an employee, I don't know. It just depends on the contract, I guess. Employees generally don't lose money if the company's losing money. That's like the one benefit that quote unquote benefit that employees have, and often one that like people will invoke when people bring up like worker co-ops and shit as like an alternative. The issue is you would still be making far and away more money in a worker co-op even when you're losing profits, you know, like way more.
We are not communists. We do not pay people in order to not generate revenue. We cannot run a business and keep it functional and employ 300 people and have the money to spend on all the wonderful projects that we like to do, on the $100 million we're going to spend on kids content, on the suing of Joe Biden's administration, on any. We can't do any of that stuff unless we are a profitable company. We don't pay people just for the fun of it. So that means this is totally premeditated. It is an attempt to grow an email list by deliberately misconstruing terms of a perfectly legitimate, non-binding term sheet for a person that I personally and Jeremy, have gone out of our way to help multiple times. A person who then claims that we are the big shills for YouTube, right? We're the ones who are shilling for big tech. So what's his claim on that? His claim is that we're shilling for big tech by saying that if you get banned from YouTube and we lose money because of that, then you also lose money. Well, I noticed that someone else makes the vast bulk of his living via the exposure he receives on YouTube, and his name is Steven Crowder. Steven has a bigger following on YouTube than I do. He has a massive following on YouTube. He's a YouTube superstar. He has 6 million followers on YouTube. He doesn't want to be banned on YouTube. By the way, he doesn't have to be demonetized in order to continue. The demonetization does not mean that he doesn't indirectly make money on YouTube. The exposure he receives on YouTube allows him to push people to Mug Club. He knows this. This is why he has a piss off YouTube segment, which is smart. Right? He does the same thing on his show that I do on my show. Exactly the same thing. You will hear me on the show when I discuss COVID. I'm about to say a bunch of things I can't say on YouTube. So head on over to Daily Wire Plus and subscribe and hear the rest of it. Steven does the same thing. He says, I'm going to have my piss off YouTube segment in which he avoids saying the things that will get him permanently banned on YouTube, but directs people to his site. So is he a shill for big tech? Is he a shill for big tech? Because if he were really not a shill for big tech, apparently, he would just say whatever he wants.
He kind of hit the nail on the head. I got to be honest. I'm on Ben Shapiro's side here. This is kind of like the Twilight thing where you can pick Team Edward or Team Alphonse or whatever the fuck his name was. This is kind of like that in that like it doesn't really matter to us that much, except for the fact the only difference is the overall fighting is good. But personally, I'm Team Ben. I'm Team Shapiro. I will get a shirt that says Team Shapiro with a sexy image of Ben Shapiro on it, and I will wear it proudly. And I will literally fight people in Minecraft who say they're Team Crowder. You know, this will happen. This is a real thing that will happen.
Any day. You just say it any day. And if they knock him off, they knock him off. But he's not doing that because he's not a moron. Steven's not a moron. He apparently is just a bad person who tapes his friends and then releases the tapes for personal gain. I'm personally insulted by Steven's behavior here. I'm more insulted.
We might look at
it has nothing to do with me because he hasn't actually said anything about me. It has to do with you don't get to attack my best friend and suggest that my best friend is some sort of shill for big tech when we spend every day, literally every day in this business, attempting to fight big tech and to win. When we spend every day trying to bring good content to people who can't get it in a lot of other ways and build a business, who go out of our way to make offers to people for tens of millions of dollars so they can continue to promote, to provide the content that you want, tens of millions of dollars to people like Steven Crowder. I don't see a lot of other people walking across the table to make this offer to Steven Crowder. The easiest thing to do in our particular industry is to attack your friends and make money off of that. The hardest thing to do in our industry is to win at business and to win against the left, and those two things are simultaneous because if you lose money, you can't keep operating and fight the agenda of the left.
It's hard to win against the left in some areas. Like I said, progressive values are advertiser friendly and conservative values are not, for the most part. There are some exceptions to that, but I honestly think that we are starting to win more. Wherever the advertisers go, that's the side that's winning. That's just how it works.
It makes me nauseous to be talking about this, honestly.
I get nauseous.
It makes me sick to be talking about this. I'm sad for Steven that he feels the necessity to plan for months, apparently, to attack his friends, to try to grow an email list in the most cynical possible fashion and tape his friends on the phone and then release that public. Who does that? Who does that? Is that something you do? I'm just asking you on a personal level. Have you ever done that? Have you ever taped your friends? Is that a thing that you do?
The girls are fighting. I'm not mad about it. Honestly, like, I do think that this is going to be like, here's what I think is going to happen. We see conservatives chasming out in a couple of different ways with like the older, more reserved conservatives, the ones who want to kind of keep things like more advertiser friendly, like Ben Shapiro. And then you've got the ones who are like going full mask off. But we're seeing this chasm, right? Of like, and I think what we're going to see is Trump, like people who like Trump are going to side with Steven Crowder, right? And the people who like Ron DeSantis are going to side with Ben Shapiro. So you've got Trump, like more loud and attention whory, and Steven Crowder is kind of like going down that route is what I see. And they're going to be the ones who are like openly anti-Semitic, openly racist, openly homophobic, openly transphobic, which to be fair, the other side is doing that as well. but they're trying to do it in such a way, like they're trying to keep on a semblance of like being advertiser friendly, of doing it in a beneficial way, you know? They're trying to do it like the more civil way, quote unquote. That's kind of how I'm seeing this personally. And also I feel like the Trump side is going to go way more like anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? Like Steven Crowder and the Trump side are going to go way more mask off anti-Semitic. And they're going to try to like insinuate Ben Shapiro is like with George Soros or something. I don't know. Who fucking knows? It could go anywhere. The point is they're fighting, and that is good for us because usually it's the left that's in fighting. You got Hassan Heads versus Vosh Boys. I don't really like that. I don't like it when we fight, but I love it when they fight. It's funny. It's funny for me. It's entertaining for me. It's amusing. So good shit. Keep it up, boys. Anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. And I'm also going to show my membership. You can type youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join to join my membership for only 99 cents a month. You too can have early access to my videos because I'm lazy and I always take too long to make thumbnails and titles and whatever. So you get early access. You can skip the thumbnail and the title and the description, and you can get straight to the meat, straight to the content. Good shit. It's delicious. Eat it up. Nom, 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 nom. You love it. You want it. You need it. Go get it. And you also get a sweet membership badge, and you get exclusive emotes that you can use in the comments, which is also really cool. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.